Let me show you something. Here's a student turning in a college essay written almost entirely by AI. At first glance, it sounds clean, organized, and technically correct, but teachers, counselors, and admissions readers catch this kind of writing almost instantly. The reality is that most students aren't doing this because they are lazy. They're overwhelmed, tired, stressed, and just trying to produce something decent. And I can understand that. But using AI this way doesn't help. It's just lowering your chances long before you even realize it. If you look around, AI is now part of everyday life. People use it to brainstorm, study, summarize, rewrite, and produce full assignments even. The issue is not that AI exists. The issue is students assume that it can do more than it actually can. AI sounds confident even when it's wrong. It fills your writing with general statements, softened language, random claims, and a tone that doesn't match how you normally would talk. When you submit something like that, it's not that you're just breaking a rule, but you're hiding everything that makes your writing you, the tone, and any sense of who you are. College readers go through thousands of essays. When your writing suddenly shifts into a generic, Wikipedia-like voice, it stands out. Not in the way that you think that it helps. AI has a recognizable style. Even when you tell it to be personal, it still produces smooth, predictable writing. Almost like too perfect, you could call it. It takes your real experiences and turns it into a structured list of accomplishments with no depth. And up until this point, everything I've said sounds almost a little too specific. And the truth of the matter is, it is. It happened to me. Throughout middle school and high school, I was super involved. I was involved in sports, extracurriculars. My grades were good. Ultimately, when I ended up walking on graduation day, my neck was heavy. And overall, I kept myself organized. But let's rewind a little bit before graduation day. Junior year, I found ChatGPT. At the time, I kept my distance. It was new, and most people did not fully trust it yet. But everything changed when I had to start applying for them college applications. Albeit my dream school was Vanderbilt. I guess I thought that I had to have perfect writing, and I guess I thought ChatGPT was the perfect opportunity to test that. Essentially, I felt pressed for time. I wanted to ensure that I created the most perfect essay possible. And that is when I turned to AI much more than I should have. Ultimately, I did give the prompt very detailed input, but given the time and stage where, AI generation was at, if I looked at the essay today, I would have recognized immediately that I did not write it. To go back, I think the input that I gave it, I gave my resume, I even gave a short anecdote as to what I want the personal essay to be told through the scope of. Ultimately, if I look back on it today, I would have realized that I didn't write it. It repeated items from my resume in a way that felt forced. Nothing about it connected at all back to who I was as a person. I can't stress enough how much it felt like Wikipedia-like writing. And that's no shade to Wikipedia. It's just very informative, and oftentimes that doesn't fit the genre in which things like college essays or narrative-like essays, or even purpose-wise, if your purpose is to keep the reader engaged throughout the entire reading, it failed. February, March comes by. I did not get accepted to the college of my dreams. I'm not saying that one essay dictated whether or not I got in, but it certainly did not help. Fast forward a couple of years, currently I am a sophomore majoring in computer science here at the University of Tennessee. What I learned from that experience is simple. The college essay matters because it is one of the only times you get to speak directly to the college of your choice. And rather than letting them get insight on me, I crumbled and forfeited it. I'm not going to tell anybody to stop using AI entirely, because the truth is that's just not going to happen. AI is slowly becoming more and more of our daily routine, because if done correctly, AI can be a very effective tool. just not the kind of tool that people have been using thus far. Up next, I'm going to show some ways to use it without losing your voice and causing future problems for yourself. First tip, you want to use AI to produce your options, not to generate the final work. You can accomplish this by asking for different paths or different angles in which you could write from, but you ultimately have to choose the path yourself. Number 2, use AI to reflect on your writing rather than replacing it. Ask questions like, what parts sound vague? Or, which sentences don't fit the tone of the first paragraph? This keeps your writing grounded in your own style. Number 3, use AI for tasks that do not interfere with your voice. Some examples may include formatting citations, or checking for grammar, or clarifying ambiguous or confusing terms on an assignment. These things allows you to use AI in a way that can save your time without having to give up development in soft skills, as well as your presence within your writing. As you kind of wrap up your assignment or writing or whatever it may be, here's just a quick final checklist to make sure that you are using AI responsibly. First, did you come up with the idea yourself? As of right now, it's still a little ambiguous on how we cite AI. But what you can do to ensure that you are being responsible in your writing is, if there's any AI involved in your writing, it's always a safe bet to cite that you utilize AI and the forms in which you used it. This can including the LLM used, essentially the AI model, as well as the prompt and the different forms in which you use it. This can ultimately ensure that even though you can't source back where that data or information was obtained from, you're at least acknowledging that the work wasn't entirely yours. 2, you also want to verify hallucinations. One of the biggest things wrong with AI is the misinformation. It's very confident in the wrong material that it will share or produce. That's one of the biggest problems. It doesn't know how to say, I don't know. It'll always say, sure, or sure, unless there's like a hard barrier, hard programmed into the AI. 3, ultimately just being mindful of your tone. Good writing ensures that your voice is present. According to Thomas Newkirk in his book, Minds Made for Stories, he describes what he calls the 7 deadly sins in writing. The sins include flatness, overusing to be verbs and passive constructions, piling on, refusal to surprise, lacking a point of view, refusing to use metaphors and analogies, and the last and final deadly sin is ignoring the human need for alternation. If you can avoid those deadly sins in your writing, as well as meeting the constraints of the genre, you can effectively maintain the essence of you in any form of writing, whether that be research, whether that be technical writing, or if it's outright storytelling. There should be a narrative flow throughout any type of writing to maintain and engage the reader. Let's turn our gears back into the college essay. Ultimately, colleges aren't expecting a perfect essay. They want writing that actually reflects a person. Someone who can think, grow, and communicate their experiences in a real way. AI can support your writing, but it cannot think for you. And when you let it take over, it becomes obvious. So use AI, but use it with intention. Use it to sharpen your ideas, but not replace it. Use it to give feedback, not to cover up your voice. Your writing doesn't need to mimic the one college essay you saw from a kid that got into Harvard 7 years ago. You don't need to mimic what everyone else is producing. It needs to sound like you. That is the part people want to read. That is the part that gives you the strongest chance at getting into the college of your dreams. I'm gonna end on this. Your story matters. You just have to tell it yourself.